Hello. After several weeks devoted to personal matters, it's a pleasure to be back with you. So, as always on this channel, let's skip the small talk and get straight to the point. Jehovah's Witnesses are known worldwide for their emphasis on the nearness of the end of the world. Their leaders regularly speak about this topic in their publications, talks, and videos, offering interpretations of biblical prophecies. Interpretations that, by the way, have changed dramatically over time. One of those interpretations has to do with the prophecy found in Daniel chapter 11, which predicts a struggle between two entities called the King of the North and the King of the South. This struggle would extend over the centuries and continue all the way to the very end of the current system. It is also foretold that the King of the North would attack what is called the Beautiful Land. When the book of Daniel was written, the land of Israel was commonly referred to by that name, the Beautiful Land. At present, the leaders of Jehovah's Witnesses interpret the King of the North mentioned in Daniel chapter 11 as Russia and the King of the South as a dual power made up of Great Britain and the United States. And the Beautiful Land is, yes, you guessed it, Jehovah's Witnesses themselves. In fact, they claim that the ban on their work in Russia is part of the fulfillment of the foretold attack by the King of the North on the Beautiful Land. In this video, I will show you how the current evidence runs completely contrary to the interpretation that Jehovah's Witnesses give to this biblical prophecy. Are you ready? The first thing we can say about this is that the leaders of Jehovah's Witnesses are completely out of touch with the reality of today's geopolitics, a reality in which there are no longer just two superpowers, as there were in the past during the Cold War. The reality of today's world is far more complex. And forgive me, Jehovah's Witnesses, but no serious geopolitical analyst speaks of only two global superpowers. It's as if the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses were stuck in the 1980s. Take a look at the following academic studies, which you can consult for yourself through the links I leave in the description of this video. For example, this study published in the Central European Journal of International and Security Studies by expert Dylan Moden speaks about the importance of understanding current relations among the great powers, since today's world is also made up of three poles: China, Russia, and the United States. Or this other one titled Tripolar Instability, Nuclear Competition Between the United States, Russia, and China by Dr. Robert S. Litwak, a scholar of international relations. I think the title speaks for itself. Another example is this article by writer Bobo Lo, sponsored by the French Institute of International Relations, titled Russia, China, and the United States, From Strategic Triangularism to the Postmodern Triangle. In short, I could easily spend another 30 minutes citing articles that demonstrate that today's world is not made up of just two superpowers, but three. But really, you don't have to be a prestigious academic to recognize this reality. Being up to date with world news is enough to see it. First of all, China meets all the military requirements of a superpower. It has enough nuclear weapons to deter any country from attacking it. It has the largest army in the world in terms of personnel and the largest navy in the world by number of ships. The United States knows that if it were to attack China with nuclear weapons, mutual destruction would be guaranteed. Economically, China is a commercial powerhouse. And here we can clearly say that, in economic terms, China is far more powerful than Russia. It is the world's second largest economy and the main trading partner of more than 120 countries. It currently dominates critical supply chains such as rare earths, advanced manufacturing, batteries, solar panels, industrial electronics, and more. Likewise, technologically speaking, the only power that rivals the United States is China. In this area, Russia doesn't even enter the picture. Key technological fields such as the development of artificial intelligence, telecommunications, and advanced manufacturing are areas in which the United States' only rival is China. It is crystal clear that the governing body is stuck in the 1980s when it comes to its view of the world. But the studies cited do not only make it clear that Jehovah's Witnesses' interpretation of Daniel chapter 11 is absolutely anachronistic, in the sense that today's world is made up of three superpowers, not two. They also show that Great Britain no longer has the importance that the leaders of Jehovah's Witnesses, still stuck in the 1980s, continue to assign to it. Great Britain's role in today's geopolitics is that of a middle power, just like France, Germany, and other countries. Yes, It is an ally of the United States, just like Canada, Spain, Italy, and all the members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, that is, the well-known NATO. Put another way, have you seen Great Britain supporting the United States' efforts to take over Greenland, to turn Canada into a new state of the American Union, or backing the tariffs that Donald Trump imposes left and right? Have you seen the United States lately consulting Great Britain before defining any major international policy, such as its controversial security plan or its stance on the war in Ukraine? For all these reasons, today more than ever, the interpretation of a supposed binary power made up of the United States and Great Britain is shown for what it truly is: a fabrication, an interpretation by men who seek to harmonize the biblical text with a historical reading that favors their biased view of the world. And what about the other interpretation that still needs to be analyzed? The one that claims that the beautiful land referred to in Daniel chapter 11 applies to Jehovah's Witnesses. With this naive interpretation, Jehovah's Witnesses continue to show what they really are: a cult. According to specialists in the study of cults such as Stephen Hassan, Margaret Singer, and Robert J. Lifton, one of the defining characteristics of cults is thought control. And to achieve it, they induce their followers to believe that only they have the truth and that everyone else is wrong. To do this, they may resort to authority-based arguments such as, the governing body is God's channel, and therefore they provide the spiritual food that leads to eternal life, or everyone outside the organization is controlled by Satan the devil. If you listen to them, you are letting yourself be trapped by him. If you are not one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but you think that only your group has the truth, or that your group is the closest to what the Bible really teaches, or things along those lines, sorry, you are in a cult. Let's be clear, truth exists, and surely your group teaches some things, maybe even many things, that are true. Jehovah's Witnesses also teach some things that are true, but no one should claim to possess absolute truth. In short, the act of claiming that they, Jehovah's Witnesses, as a group, are the beautiful land spoken of in Daniel chapter 11 is tied to that sectarian way of thinking that says they, and only they, have the truth. In summary, Jehovah's Witnesses' interpretation of Daniel chapter 11, in which the king of the north is Russia, the king of the south is the binary power of the United States and Great Britain, and the beautiful land is Jehovah's Witnesses, has no solid foundation whatsoever for the following three reasons. 1. It ignores the current reality of China as a nuclear power on the same level as Russia and the United States, and one that even surpasses Russia economically and technologically. 2. In today's geopolitics, the United States and Great Britain do not act as a binary power. The United States does not consult Great Britain when shaping its foreign policy, and Great Britain does not support all of the United States' actions. It is true that Great Britain remains an ally of the United States, but it does so at the same level as any other NATO member, such as Canada, France, Germany, and others. 3. Claiming that the beautiful land mentioned in Daniel chapter 11 refers to Jehovah's Witnesses is a clearly sectarian assertion that arrogantly assumes that only they possess the truth. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. If you'd like to support me so this channel can keep producing content, you can become a channel member. By doing so, you'll get access to exclusive content and you'll be able to influence, with your vote, the topics we'll be covering next. And if you want to learn how the leaders of Jehovah's Witnesses rewrite their own history to deceive their followers, click on the next video. See you soon.